Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our webinar dedicated to Microsoft Dynamics Sales. And today we are going to talk about leads, opportunities, and other process-based operations. For those who are only joining this series of webinars for the very first time, a quick introduction. I represent Business Itera, and Business Itera is a Microsoft partner operating in the Baltics and in Finland, and we deliver comprehensive solutions in such spheres as ERP, BI, HRM, and CRM. We have more than 100 people in our team, and we have more than 20 years of experience. As I said, so those are the areas where we operate, but today we are focusing on a CRM solution and mostly on Microsoft Dynamics Sales. So this webinar is a part of a longer series. We have been talking about various aspects of Microsoft Dynamics Sales solution, and we have been discussing the very idea of selecting Microsoft platform rather than going with some local minor solution. We've been showing some functionalities in our demo sessions. We've been talking about the approach to implementing an IT project and how we operate and manage implementing IT projects. And last time we focused on customer data, and we discussed the account card and all the customer related data. So what are we doing here today? Today we are going to talk about process-based entities. That means that if we have general information about the customer that is stable and that is something that we want to see on account card, but we also want to differentiate processes, we do have beginning and end, and we want to consider them separately. Mostly we are talking about leads and opportunities representing one particular sales process, one particular deal, one particular project. But also the same logic is applicable to other processes such as debt management process or insurance case process or support cases. So let's talk about the functionalities that we can use in Microsoft Dynamics Sales to cover the needs related to process-based entities. So last time when we were talking about the account card, and I showed you this wireframe, and I said that we can play with those blocks and tabs, and we can include the data blocks that you want to have. I mentioned that usually we do incorporate summary of leads and opportunities, and we show that on account card. That means that if I am the person responsible for a particular account, I do want to know what kind of projects have been going on with the customer. Do we have any ongoing projects, or do we have any potential projects? Do we see that there are some topics that the customer might be interested in? So this is what we call leads and opportunities using the terminology of Microsoft Dynamics Sales. Leads are hints, ideas of potential interest concerning one particular topic. And this is something that we can develop into a sales process. And opportunities are more potential sales processes where we probably cooperate with the partner, where we have negotiations and where we have proposals and follow-up activities. So they are like more stable sales projects, which end up with either won or lost opportunity. And here on account card, we see that one customer can be connected with many potential leads and opportunities. So let's talk about them. This is a wireframe based on lead opportunity card. And as I said, we shouldn't really stick to particular blocks or data because you can adjust the entity according to your needs and your company's requirements. But basically what we see here is that every process is seen as a pipeline. So there are stages and there are certain steps we can walk through with the customer, and we can see all the information related to this particular process. So we can see the products related, we can see the communication, and this communication comes from different channels. So it comes directly from Outlook and Teams and Outlook calendar. So we see the hint at what's been going on, what's been done in terms of this particular process. We also see all the documents related to this particular sale, And we can have estimated revenue expected from this process or estimated closing time. So we can add as many criteria as we want. So leads and opportunities in Microsoft Dynamics Sales can be either created manually or they can be created from emails. For example, if I have a request from a customer, I can easily turn it into a lead or opportunity in our sales system. Or in case of some events, for example, a conference or all kind of marketing campaigns, you can also bulk import leads and opportunities so that your team can deal with them later. And this is just an example of how I can quickly create a new lead if I feel like this is the email that has to do with a new potential sale project. So the bar you see on the top of lead and opportunity card stands for business process. And it starts from the lead if you consider some topic to be a potential lead, which can be either qualified into opportunity and then we consider that a proper sales process, or it can be disqualified and then we say that yes, there has been some potential interest. We still want to have some knowledge about it. We still want to see this disqualified lead on account card. We want to know that probably the customer has been interested in a particular topic, but we are not actually going on with that actively and we are not developing it into a particular sales process. In case we do develop it, so we are talking about an opportunity. And this is where we first need to create a so-called business process. So business processes, or the very pipeline, the very amount of stages and steps you need to make in order to fulfill this particular deal, can be different. And they can be different depending on product, they can be different depending on the team who is dealing with the particular sale, or there can be different processes within one team and one company. So some companies of our customers usually say, you know what, we have very different processes. Sometimes it's a very easy sale, there are only 2 steps. So there come just request and we register that, then we just send our proposal, then it's either won or lost opportunity and we don't really do anything in between that. We only just send one email and that's it. But on the other hand, we do have other processes where we have very complicated sales or very complicated projects. Usually they have to do with government-related tenders or any big bulky projects where every step is very important and we need to fix and we need to make sure we have all the documentation ready and we have all the processes considered and everything done by the book, by the guidelines. So what do? The answer is that we can have different processes within one organizations and we can define. So for example, if you have separate teams who use different processes, they will only see their business process flow. Or depending on the product or depending to complexity of the deal, they can choose their own business process flow. And this is how they know the amount of stages and the amount of steps in between. And we can define the stages and the steps the way you want. So here we have request registration, then meeting, then diagnostic, then proposal. They can be different for your particular organization and for your particular business. Once we have the stages defined, we can also define steps. And this tool has been especially efficient in case of beginners and in case of very complex procedures. So for example, if you want to work on the quality of your sales team, you want your sales team to actually have a checklist of all the activities that they need to comply with when they provide their proposals. So you might want to use the steps. And the steps can be either optional, so they just can see, okay, so I'm here, I've got the request registration, what should I do? I need to check that I have the account created, I have the team ready to work on this project, and I have the contacts, everything nice inserted in my system. So what else? Do I have a checklist? What are my activities? What should be my next step? So it can be like a checklist for me to see and to help me, but they can also be required. That means that I cannot move on and proceed with the next stage until I insert certain data. So for some companies, it is very crucial. For example, before I move on with the project, I need to insert estimated revenue, because without that, it will be impossible to analyze and see what projects are we talking about. So once we have the steps and the stages, and we have worked on business process as such, we need to take a look at the very card. And this is our beloved wireframe and our beloved tool, which helps us provide the data blocks that we want to see in this entity. And this is something that I cannot dictate, and I cannot imagine what data blocks can be topical for your particular organization. That is absolutely a cooperation between IT partner and the customer. But let's imagine, so when I am talking about one sales process, I would really want to have a business process flow set for that. I want to have communication which has been delivered not just with this customer, but within this particular topic, something that has to do with this particular project. I also want to know the products related. I also want to have documents. And for documents, we will have to talk through SharePoint structure, because the big advantage of Microsoft Dynamics Sales is that basically you can do all the operation from your lead and opportunity card. You can create your own documents starting here, and once you send them out or save them, they will be nicely stored in the folder related to a customer and to this particular opportunity. And whatever you send out from Microsoft Dynamics Sales will be also stored in your Outlook. So you can send appointments, they will be integrated with the Outlook. So you can do everything right from this particular page. Also, maybe I want to have agreements. Many customers of ours prefer to have all the agreements which are related to this particular project to be connected and be seen from this very opportunity card. Or maybe you do know all the contacts related to a customer, but for this particular project, there is a group of people who deal with this sales process directly. So you want to have the contacts. Or maybe there are some rates, or maybe there are some products, you name it. So, but this is how we put together the entity, the tabs, and the data blocks needed for opportunity process to be covered the way your organization sees that. So what happens when we close the opportunity? Let's say we do have the stages, we do have the step, we have a great sales team, so they move on with the stages and with the steps. So what happens after we say, yes, we have the agreements, we have them signed, so we are ready to start working, so we have the sales process closed as one? Well, it depends on your general solution architecture and structure. But first of all, you have all the process related data stored, and even when you close the opportunity, so you have all the documents, all the logs there saved nicely for you. And then depending on the way your general system is built on, we can proceed with that. So for example, if you sell some products and your selling process actually ends up with your confirmation that yes, the customer would like to receive those products, what you do, you can send out the order directly to your ERP system. So basically you say, we as a sales team, we have done our work, we have a customer's confirmation, we would like to bill those works now, so please send out the invoice. This is something where we have ERP integration in place, so we can send out orders and send out invoices directly from Business Central in case they are integrated. In some cases, the company prefer to consider their sales process together with their project solution. So, and this is where we probably want to talk about PO solution, or where we want to have custom integration with project module. But this is the idea of how we can move on from having a sales process turning into actual project process. Another important thing is analysis. We've been collecting all the data on our opportunity card, and it is very important to agree upon the fields and data quality that you want to measure, because once you have everything inserted, you can create dashboards and analyze what's going on in your sales process. So this is an example of a dashboard. You probably do not distinguish particular numbers here, but I will just give you a hint of what kind of perspectives we might want to consider when we turn to analysis of what's going on in our sales solution. So usually what we do, we analyze our leads and opportunities per stage, meaning that we want to see how many potential projects do we have in proposal stage. And if we have this number, and if we also have expected revenue, so we can see, you know what, actually, maybe our current work volume is not that big, but look, we are having 5 million projects coming out. They are now at proposal stage. What if we get them won, all of them? We need probably to have this input to be able to plan resources. We also use this input in terms of revenue expected when we talk about forecasts and when we plan our potential income. So we want to see how many potential projects and what sums are we expecting from our sales process. Another very crucial and very widely spread analysis is analysis by product. So sometimes the companies want to see, so what is the most popular product? Where should we probably pay more attention, and what product is being asked more? What projects are we selling more? And analysis per person responsible is very often an input for payroll system. In many organizations, we have seen the situation when we implement CRM solution, but as a result, the companies analyze and reanalyze and adjust their payroll and personal systems, because sometimes what we do see in sales organizations, people's income does depend on the amount of their projects, on the revenue they bring, on new leads and probably contacts and the number of appointments. This is the moment when you can measure all of those criteria. And very often also you can have more information. For example, we can see a salesperson responsible, who knows that they do get their income depending on the amount of appointments. And this is where you get to track that there are a lot of appointments, but they actually do not end with actual projects. Or maybe you need to adjust your payroll and your motivation system. And maybe this is something that we should consider, like other criteria which are already here inserted into your CRM solution. So those are the main blocks that we use to build up our process-based operation. And of course, in case of sales, we are mostly talking about leads and opportunities when a sales process. But actually, in Microsoft Dynamics Sales, we can use the same logic with stages and steps, and we can handle other process-based operations absolutely the same way. So what are those processes? Basically, you name it. It does very much depend on your organization solutions, on your products and your services. But what we have been dealing with are mostly insurance cases, but in exactly the same way we consider sales process, we do have stages for insurance cases. So we have the customer and they say, and this is an insurance case, this number. So, and we have stages. So this is where we collect the initial documentation. This is where we have our proposal. This is where we close it. The same situation is about debt management system. So where we have not a selling process, but we have a debt management. So where we say, you know what, we have some steps. Let's say the very first stages are when we automatically send out reminders that there are some invoices overdue and please deal with them. And if after that the invoices are not paid, all those cases get on a dashboard to a particular person who is responsible for that, and that start dealing with that personally. And there are stages and steps considered by their organization. And the cases, initial idea of cases, stand for support cases or for maintenance cases. That is a built-in functionality from Microsoft Dynamics Sales. So that is applicable to all kind of maintenance and all kind of support tickets that we can provide. So that was my input for today. I hope you have an overview of what we can do in terms of process-based operations. I hope it was of help. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Feel free to use your chat window. And if you don't have questions now, then you are most welcome to join our next webinar, because next time we are going to talk more about integrations that are possible with Microsoft Dynamics solution, and about built-in BI solutions and how it can be used to help your day-to-day analysis and planning your works. And from my side, unless you have any great questions, I thank you so much for joining the webinar, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much, and goodbye.